Kia ora, ko Sidney Diamond ahau, no hokianga ahau, kei karane mahau e noho ana, kei Unison ahau e mahi ana, ko te Ramaroa kupe me Pangaru oku maunga, ko Waipapa te awa, ko hokianga te moana, ko ngā pui te raroa oku iwi, ko ngā tuku matawhāroa tōku waka. Kia ora.
Tui?
That's
yeah. Kia ora, bro.
it.
Given that you've given us yours, it's only natural that I guess I reciprocate that. Kia ora. Ngā mihi mana kia koe, ko Sidney toku ingoa. I whānau mai okay ahu te reria, e nari no Hāmoa hau, e noho ana okay o tautahi. He kaimahi rangatahi mō Youth and Cultural Development. Nō reira, kia ora. Shop, bro.
Oh, kia ora.
Thanks for taking the time to, making time to catch up and I guess answer a few questions.
Nah, it's all good, bro. Sweetest.
How's lockdown been anyway, bro?
That's all right, bro. I was talking to Dan just before. I still work. I'm still working through it. So,
are you in Auckland or are you?
Nah, I'm in the Hawke's Bay, bro.
Oh, me.
Yeah. Better weather, not as congested, rat race, all that.
Beaches and that, eh?
Yeah, beaches and all that. Really good weather here, bro. Like, far out. Like, yeah, this whole lockdown has been like nice weather, like t-shirt, sunny, no clouds.
Mate.
Only rained like twice.
Oh, that's a part of the country I've never been to, so.
Oh, you'll like it, bro. It's nice here, man. Really nice.
So when you say you've been working just online, or have you been? No,
I got an actual day job, bro. Like I work on the power board, eh? I'm a linesman, a gloving line mechanic. Yeah, bro. I've been doing it for 7 years.
I am a linesman for the county.
I am a lineman for the county.
I actually like.
Bro.
I like country, so real random, mate.
I love country, bro. It's positive.
I grew up in it, bro. Do you know that's one of the best? One of the things I love about country music is it's real wholesome.
Yeah. No, for real. Like it's funny because the other night, since you're speaking about country music, I jumped in the truck. I had a fault, and they were playing country music, and I was like about to change the station. I was like, nah, let's just listen to it. Bro, I listened to it for like a whole 45 minutes driving back to the yard. It's not bad. It's all good.
You were you came to prominence around the early 2000s. Would that be fair?
Nah. Probably like late 2000s. Mid to late 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah. As obviously young Sid and part of Smash Proof.
Yeah.
From what I can remember, and that was actually a hard time in New Zealand. Like. It was a competitive time in New Zealand hip hop. Yeah. What kind of artists were you up against then?
Yeah, it would have been, but I'm not really against anybody. I don't really feel like we were put against each other, but at the time we had, and this is not competitive, we had Squire, we had Savage, Decepticons, David Dallas was in there, PNC.
Yeah.
And like mainstream wise, that was it.
Yeah. Oh man. So it's actually a good time for New Zealand hip hop, yeah. Yeah,
it's probably I mean, no disrespect to anyone that came in the 90s and that, but I feel like that was our golden era for hip hop. I feel like the 2000s were. But I could be biased because I'm from the era. They could probably say the same thing. Or the kids these days could say, this is the golden era. It's just probably me being biased, to be honest.
Who are you? Did you have any New Zealand hip hop artists that you used that were sort of inspiring? I remember growing up would have been like Double J and Twice the T. I don't know if you remember them. Culture.
I remember Culture. Culture. I remember Culture, but they were New Zealanders, but based in Aussie.
Yeah, you're right. I think they were based in Aussie.
Yeah. My one of my uncles, cousins with a couple of those guys, and he was over in Australia. around that time. But I remember them. I remember Culture. I remember King Cab, Stan Nato. Who else was there? Shay Fu. But these are people that, like, although I like really respect them, I wasn't listening to them as a little boy. I was like listening to my older brother's music, which was like NWA, Ghetto Boys, just that type of rap. Yeah. Back in the 90s anyway.
Bit of PE.
No, not really.
Nah, not really.
Nah. Oh yeah. Nah, we grew up mainly. We listened to the West Coast music. South Aucklanders, man. That's what we got into. I didn't really get into the East Coast up until like the mid 2000s.
Yeah. So that's cool, man.
Heaps of R&B too. Heaps of R&B.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like it.
R&B, bro.
That's not something that I would have thought.
Even on my playlist now, it's R&B, bro. I don't really listen to much hip hop unless it's like New Zealand stuff. Now, anyway.
Yeah, because we used to have a little bit of my cousin, just in a family thing, we used to be like, you either. I know we all listen to both, but you either fell in the gangster rap box or you're a slow jam guy.
Yeah.
So
I was fortunate enough to have like older siblings that were into both. So then I was kind of schooled on that type of music at a very young age. So I kind of got a big variety of artists to listen to as a young boy.
Who will you go to? For R&B, bro? Casey and JoJo?
R&B, Casey and JoJo, Jodeci.
Jodeci.
Not really Casey and JoJo as a duo, but Jodeci. I got Donnell Jones on my playlist. I've got Life Jennings. He's more of a 2000s guy.
Yeah.
Who else is on my playlist at the moment? I just did a playlist too. Rude Boys. I got Color Me Bad on there. I've got I got Tony Braxton and like TLC or like all of those old the old 90s R&B that I used to listen to. Even now, like I just done a playlist just like as recently as like 3 days ago, and I've got a lot of old school hip hop and R&B on it.
Bro, that's me. Look, and if we fast forward to now, I'm seeing a lot of stuff around you. You've made a transition, I guess, from being in the music industry and now utilizing that profile that you had in terms of working with Rangatahi. Is that right? Is that what I'm seeing?
I mean, if I get the call up to do a workshop or whatever, I'm there. I mean, like you say, I've transitioned from a young boy to an adult. Grown up. And just fortunate enough to make it through my 20s, make it through my teens, and not go to jail with all the stuff that a lot of people hear about from the areas that a lot of us grew up in, like in South Auckland. It's not as different as to it's not that much different to the smaller neighborhoods in this country. They go through the same thing: poverty-stricken, gangs, violence, abuse, all of that sort of shit. So I made it through all of that, and I'm able to give back to the Rangatahi now that are going through it. To just try and give them a little bit of game, a little bit about myself, and hopefully they get inspired to not do the exact same thing, but just to try and mature in a better way than what some of us had to deal with.
Bro, you mentioned growth. So there was no catalyst for you making that, utilizing your journey to reach out to other young people. There was no event that sort of inspired you to do that. It's just that you feel like you've grown.
Well, not really. It wasn't really an event, but I think this is where I was heading to anyway. If you check out one of my songs called Stuck in a Box, you can just go back to then. That was 2010. That's pretty much based on reality for a couple of people that I grew up with, and they're young people, and it's just telling a story about 2-3 people from the hood that didn't two people that didn't really utilize what they had, their talents that they had, and went another direction. And then there's one person, which is myself, and I made it rapping at that time. And that was basically something for the Rangatahi to look up to then. But there wasn't really an event as such to make me go on this path. I guess it's just maturing, bro. Like, we don't do the same things as a 35, 40-year-old as we once did as a 15 to 25-year-old. It's different now.
Tell me about it.
It's just part of the game. It's just part of living, bro. So not really an event.
Yeah. And honestly, that's what we find, like, we're telling young people as well. Like, we try and talk to them about, some of the decisions that they're making. The decisions that we made back then, if that makes sense. And we're trying. It's that same old cycle where you try and tell them because you feel like you know better and through your lived experience. Yeah. But at the same time, there's a whole lot of that they won't, they won't necessarily listen to us. It's something that they have to go through as well, and they almost have to make bad decisions as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like, since you say, we've been through a lot of things when we were younger, we kind of can't give them our biography and expect them to change theirs, like you said, they've got to live their experiences, and if they choose to do certain things, they're going to choose it anyway, regardless of if we go, this is what's going to happen if we do this and this and this. I mean, we can say it and hopefully it gets through to them, but unfortunately a lot of them it won't hit unless it's somebody that they're really inspired by, someone they really look up to, like hard to look up to. If it was coming from them, maybe it will change them, put them on the right path. But other than that, man, sometimes they just gotta deal with life as it comes in and get their experiences through mistakes, which is pretty stink. Like, I was fortunate enough to watch other people make these mistakes for me.
True.
So I had brothers and friends that are like going to jail, hustling, fighting, like all of that sort of stuff. I watch it. Yeah. My own family watching it, and then I'm like, oh, cool. So since they're doing that and they made a mistake and this is what's happening right in front of my face, I don't have to make the same choices and make the same mistakes. I just learn from them. Yeah. So I was quite lucky that I was able to just observe and figure out what I really wanted for my future.
Right.
Not to say I didn't make any mistakes. Like, I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of. Like, even like as recently as like a couple of years ago, like, you're still going to make mistakes on your journey anyway. But
we all fallible, way. We're all humans at the end of the day. So we're all no matter what stage of life we're in. You're right. Hey, you mentioned a song in 2010 that you dropped that I guess had a real positive message, but I recall a lot of your music actually having quite deep, messages. Would you? It wasn't just like, it wasn't like some of the rap that we hear that's like, they're almost like stuff that they count. It's sort of hard to describe, but it's sort of like bravado, if that makes sense. That sort of, those sort of themes come through, whereas I felt like you had some real positive messages in a lot of your music. Yeah,
I mean, I did do the bravado stuff, like, and still do, like, depending on my mood and what I feel like writing about. But when I do write any song that I write for myself, that's just my song. It's an experience that I've already been through, or I'm watching someone go through. And as you say, some of the more positive stuff is coming from, a place of it's happening right now, right in that moment. That's why I write the song. And then sometimes songs that I do that I'm feeling in that moment and I write about, they don't come out until like a year later. And by that time, I'm not in that position anymore. But I can guarantee that somebody else is probably going through the same situation, and maybe it's going to help them in some way. But it's just a voice for a lot of people that are going through shit and they don't know how to vent or do anything about it. They just know that someone else is going through it as well, been through it. So, and that's not my goal. That's not my goal. My goal is not to like be like, okay, so he's going through this, he's going through this, I'm going to write about it so then I can feel cool with them. That's not me. Like I said, if I'm going through it, I'm going to write about it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Mean. Rose, I guess I talked about seeing you on whether it be online or just on those social media platforms, sort of addressing rangatahi. Some of that's in, I guess, a bit of in and around Te Ao Māori stuff. So have you, I guess, in that as part of that journey, obviously explored a little bit of Te Ao Māori and your whakapapa and things like that? Or have you always had a connection to, obviously, your cultural, your heritage?
In some ways I've had a connection, but not as hard out as it is now. I recently started on a Te Ao journey just in March, and I really enjoy it too because it's given me a proper connection back to where I'm from, tikanga, being a Māori, being proud of myself, and instead of being somebody that's just from the hood and that's it, that's life. Because in some ways, although I was born and raised in Otara, and I love that place with my heart, but I don't. My ancestors are not from there. And at one point, I was willing to die for that area.
Yeah.
Like for nothing. And,
yeah.
It would have been for nothing, like literally nothing. By my own people probably, but yeah, now as I've grown, as I've matured, I'm realizing that it's more. South Auckland is my home. I'm born and raised there, but my life means more than that.
Yeah,
I've got like ancestors. You same as you, bro. I got ancestors in that that struggle to get me to where I'm at now. Not just myself. I've got a lot of people behind me that no one can see, but they're rooting for me to make things right or do the best that I can.
That's mean, bro.
So yeah,
that's mean as dude. So hey, what at the moment, where's your anything? I guess hip hop wise, or even Rangatahi project wise, anything other than the 9 to 5 grind in the pipeline for you?
I still work on things. I still have ideas floating around in my head all the time, but I haven't really sat down and really written out a proper plan for myself for like the next couple of years. But I definitely want to do workshops, whether it's music workshops or just a workshop for rangatahi, especially tribal rangatahi that come from a similar background of me.
But I hope so.
As we were saying, yeah, because the experience is there, and I've been through a lot of things similar to what they're going through, and if I can help at least one, then that's me giving back in some sort of way. But I would like, I need to come up with a business plan and go for funding, because when people hit me up to come to hold workshops, I'm like, oh, okay, so I need those costs covered, for me to get there and that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I hate it when they're like, can you come? I'm like, oh, it's a bit too far, all that sort of stuff, and I gotta spend time away from my family. And, but yeah, right. I'm really interested in doing that, man, for real.
But I hope so. I think you've got some gold, man, for for the rangatahi out there. To be honest, the journey. And you're almost part of the journey that they see in their head, when we talk about young people and they like deer and headlights.
That's true. Yeah.
And sometimes, and you're probably the headlights that, you were one of those sort of things that they're staring at and aspiring to be. So I reckon you'd have some real gold. You mentioned, sorry?
Oh, no, you carry on, bro. Cheers, bro. Thank you, anyway.
You just mentioned whānau, bro, like, some of the, if there were commitments away from home, obviously an impact on whānau. Where's your whānau at the moment? What's your whānau situation at home and stuff like that?
Well, my kids, I got two kids. I got 2 kids and a wife. They're here. I just said, stay in the lounge or go outside and play until I finish this interview, and I'll come and grab them.
How are they dealing with lockdown, bro?
Oh, they're all right. I thought I guess my son was getting bored at the beginning because he couldn't like play with other kids in that. But now he's starting to really enjoy it because although I still work, it's only for a call out, so I'm basically at home until I get called out. So I play with them hard out. Like it's so fun. Really
Yeah.
enjoying hanging out with my kids. Having more time with my kids in it.
Mean.
But yeah, I really love it. Like being a father is probably the best thing that could happen to me. To be honest, I was talking to my wife before. I was like, I wish I had these kids like 10 years ago, or even like when I was like 22 or something. And
Yeah.
you know?
But in a way, look, I totally agree with you. It is the most amazing. I'm an old father as well. Like I'm 42, and my oldest kid's 5. And my youngest she just turned 6 months. So I sort of waited a little bit in life, but I reckon I wasn't ready.
You were saying that. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I think fathering and being a part of a family is fairly requires you to put yourself on the back burner.
Yeah, because you got something to work for. Like you got to provide. You got actually got
people more important than you, eh?
That's right. Exactly that.
Hey, one of the last things I wanted to hit you up about was quickly just to see if you're aware of the Christchurch Hip Hop Summit that just got announced. I'm sure Danny told you about it. Did you hear about it?
Yeah. I heard about it. Red was messaging me on my Sid Diamond page that I don't even look at. And I think he was messaging for a bit. And then he texts me, goes, "Hey, bro, are you getting my messages on your Facebook page? I've got a couple of things that might interest you." And then he told me about the Hip Hop Summit in Christchurch. I was like, "Yeah, bro, sweet. I'm in there."
Yes, that's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, bro. Red's he's been putting in some hard mahi to get it over the line. So it's pretty exciting for Christchurch. It's a wee way away from the hip hop hubs like Wellington and Auckland, but we still pack a bit of punch when it comes to hip hop down here.
You guys have got a lot of talent down there, bro. Like heaps, bro.
But it's more a platform for hip hop, eh? That's what we're excited about. And I'll tell you what, you talked about sort of working with or running a program or something of your own in the future that reaches Rangatahi. That'd probably be a good opportunity to
have a jam, have a go.
Yeah.
No, that'd be awesome. I'll be keen to do that too, bro.
But even to talk with some people. Obviously, the likes of Red and that Danny. They've got heaps of resources and networks that obviously utilize like hip hop and in the social setting and social sector. So it'll be a good opportunity to catch up and have a cordial about that. But
even
otherwise,
just catching up with them too. Just catching up with them, they're funny.
Yeah, bro.
I've been mates with them for ages since I started my career, pretty much.
Yeah,
they've always held it down for me. They've been good people for me.
Danny, anything else that you want me to touch on before we?
I was really keen. I was really keen to let him touch on the "Don't Run" track that he just recorded because it was done through Ngāi which is a local iwi here. So a lot of our rangatahi, that's actually their tribe, so they can kind of feel connected to. Then the message in that song was quite. I think it's quite important for our young people to know if they haven't heard that song. So the track you done, "Don't Run," if you just want to explain to us how that came about and your thoughts around writing those lyrics.
Yeah, okay. "Don't Run." I got a call from Phil Bell, DJ Severe, and he had a job for me. He said somebody from Ngāi, I'm not sure what business it was, but what's his name? Eru? Aren't you related to that fella?
Yeah, he's my cousin, Eru Prendergast.
Yeah, him. Him. So he got in touch with Severe asking if I could do a song for the Rangatahi. around the country that are getting pretty much shut down, and schools are getting streamed, like to the point where teachers they just put in a box, the unteachable box, and then it's them throughout their educational life, if that made any sense.
Yeah.
And so they asked me to write a song, but don't make it too like nice and pretty in it. So I was like, oh sweet, say no more.
That's my game.
Bro, this is yeah. It was so easy for me to write because I understood that. I've been through like experiences like that through my high school teachers. I've been put in that box where they felt I wasn't teachable, but then I end up carving up most of the students at school in my class because I got all my grades, bro. I wasn't a dummy. It just looked like I wasn't paying attention, but I passed everything. And so writing that song was like a massive as weight off my chest, I guess. Was really just telling the Rangatahi out there to just use that as a challenge and just try and challenge people with your smarts, because we're smart people. It's just some people don't take us serious because of maybe our skin color, where we grow up at, how the media perceives us to be. But yeah, we're just telling my people that you're smart enough to be better than that stigma that's placed on you. Like, that's it, really. And I did it the way that I wanted to do it, in terms of getting told how to write it. So I used that the Nas I Can as a reference. If you listen to it, you could probably hear the references in it, like king, queen. Like, I made sure that when I did it, I actually pay respect to Nas, because he was my idea. But that's how it came about.
Look, I really appreciate that. Again, have appreciated you taking the time and making the time to just give us a bit of insight into your world.
Yeah.
And sort of, your journey through the hip hop world as well. It's real cool to hear. It's real cool to hear your heart for the Rangatahi and how you keep to use, obviously, the road you've travelled to sort of affect the next generation positively. And I really hope that comes to fruition.
I'm trying to, because shucks, like it looks like people are losing their way. I really feel that. I really feel that with us is like the people in the Māori people, Pacific Island people in the poor communities that got to go through all the dramas that brings. I really feel that we're lacking tikanga, because if we have that, then there's nothing else that could really stop us from doing anything, We could kind of eradicate all the dramas and all that sort of shit that's happening in our lives right now and just stick to that. Just knowing who we actually are in terms of
strong identity.
Because that's what it is, an identity crisis maybe, and like I'm part of that, and I'm figuring it out now, so it's all good. This my boy Tamorangi. Yeah.
That's a little bit, eh? Yeah.
I suppose I'd like to thank you as well. Like to thank you because I know over the years we've built a really good relationship with you, and you've really looked after Y.C.D. You've come in and done a lot of stuff for us where you probably could have charged a whole lot of money, but you pretty much done it off the love for us. And
that's all good, bro.
Yeah, just like to say thank you on behalf of Y.C.D. for all the efforts you've done for us. And for our
it's all good, bro. My pleasure. Like, I've been looked after from you guys for years and years and years, bro. So it's a friendship thing more than a money thing. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, pass on our thanks to the whānau too. It looks like they're pretty keen to hang out some more.
They want me to come play on the chat with them now.
Me.
Good. Nah.
Thanks, bro.
Sweet ass, man. Catch you later, eh? Have a good one. Take care. I'll see you guys at the summit.
Yeah, bro.
All right. Ka kite.
Ka kite.
Ka kite.